What if the deadliest scam in trading wasn't the one you saw on the charts, but the one living quietly in your own mind? What if the enemy wasn't a scammer across the screen, but the illusion you built yourself? An illusion so perfect, it convinces you that you're in control, when in reality, you're the prisoner. In Part 1, we uncovered a prison of candlesticks, where traders fall victim to the most dangerous scam. But that was only the surface. Behind every scammer is a deeper manipulation, the invisible weapon of psychology. This is not a story of numbers. It is not a story of money. It is a story of how your mind is bent, twisted, and controlled until you can no longer tell the difference between freedom and illusion. Before we uncover this final illusion, make sure you subscribe to Psychology of Trading, because what you're about to hear is knowledge scammers don't want you to have. Let's begin. Every scam has a weapon. Some use lies. Some use promises. But the most dangerous weapon in trading isn't a system or an algorithm, it's psychology. The scammer doesn't need to break into your bank account. They don't need to hold you hostage. They only need to pull invisible strings, fear, greed, impatience, and watch you destroy yourself. Think about it. Every scam begins with an invitation, a whisper in the shadows, easy profits, quick money, no effort. The words change, but the psychology never does. Scammers understand something most traders never realize, that your emotions are the battlefield. They don't show you the scam directly. Instead, they create an atmosphere where you scam yourself. They plant an idea and let your psychology do the rest. A faceless figure offers you a signal group with guaranteed 95% win rate. Another sells you mentorship promising the secret method the banks don't want you to know. And when you hesitate, when doubt begins to creep in, they twist a knife with fear. Spots are filling up. If you miss this, you'll regret it forever. It's not the product they sell. It's the illusion of missing out. Fear of missing out, FOMO. Traders rush into scams not because the scammer is convincing, but because their own fear is overwhelming. The scammer simply lights the match. Your psychology is the gasoline. Greed, the promise of doubling money in a week, turning $100 into $10,000, is irresistible. The scammer doesn't need to prove it. All they need is a screenshot, a chart, or a fake testimony. Your greed will fill in the blanks. Authority bias. They wear suits. They talk with confidence. They use words you don't understand. Your brain translates this into trust. They don't need to be real experts. They just need to look like experts. Hope, the cruelest weapon of all. When you've lost money in the markets, hope becomes your oxygen. And scammers know this. They don't need to scam the strong. They only need to target the wounded. They whisper, "This time will be different. Trust me." But here's the chilling truth. The scammer isn't really the villain here. They are only a mirror reflecting your own mind back at you. Because without fear, greed, or hope, their tricks wouldn't work. Imagine this scene. A trader sitting in a dark room, multiple screens glowing with red and green candlesticks. His heart beats faster as the market moves. In that heightened state, when emotions are raw, he sees an ad promising the exact thing he craves, certainty. His finger trembles, hovering over the buy button. And in that moment, the scam is complete. He scams himself. Because the psychology weapon is not about deception, it's about permission. The scammer cannot force you to click, cannot force you to pay. But by manipulating your emotions, they make you give them permission. You become the accomplice in your own downfall. This is why scams are so powerful. They don't target your logic. They target your biology. Fear and greed are hardwired into your brain, older than civilization, older than language. Your fight or flight instinct evolved to protect you from predators. But in the market, it makes you vulnerable. And the scammers know. They study this. They prey on this. To them, you are not a trader. You are a psychology experiment. Here's the illusion. You think you are making decisions. You think you are in control. But the weapon has already been fired. The seed already planted. You are simply walking the path they built for you. Consider how casinos work. Bright lights, no clocks, free drinks. Every detail is designed to bypass logic and hijack psychology. Trading scams operate the same way. The difference? Casinos tell you they are games. Scammers tell you there are opportunities. The scariest part is this. Even experienced traders fall victim, not because they don't know the markets, but because the psychology weapon doesn't care about knowledge. It cares about emotion. The smarter you are, the easier it becomes to trap you, because confidence blinds you to danger. That's why scams don't just steal money. They steal your discipline. They steal your ability to trust yourself. And once your psychology is broken, once you believe you can't trade without someone guiding you, the scammer has won. This is not about trading anymore. This is about control. And here's the real nightmare. The scam doesn't end when you leave the scammer. It continues inside your own mind. You start chasing shortcuts, looking for certainty, desperate for the next system that will save you. Even without the scammer, the psychology weapon keeps firing. You have become your own scammer. The battlefield is not the charts. The battlefield is your mind. So if you think the scammer is out there somewhere, waiting to trap you, think again. The real weapon is already inside you. And unless you disarm it, you will always be the easiest target. Control. That's the word every trader clings to. The belief that every click, every strategy, every trade is theirs alone. But what if the control you believe you have is the biggest illusion of all? The market whispers, and you answer. A chart moves, and you react. You feel like you're the one pulling the trigger. But in reality, your hand is already guided. That's the brilliance of the scam. You don't think you're being controlled. You think you're free. Scammers don't just sell lies. They sell the illusion of control. They give you the steering wheel of a car whose direction was already programmed. You turn left, right, accelerate, but the road was designed to end at the same destination. Loss. Overconfidence bias. Traders believe they're smarter than the rest. They read books, watch videos, maybe even won a few trades. This confidence blinds them. A scammer doesn't need to convince them. They let the trader convince themselves. They create an environment where overconfidence is rewarded just long enough to build trust before the collapse. Think of it like a magician. You know there's a trick, but the illusion is so smooth you feel like you're making your own choice. The scammer simply hides the strings while you dance like a puppet. The gambler's fallacy. Another trap is the belief in patterns that don't exist. Lose 3 trades in a row, and your brain whispers, the next one has to win. That thought is not logical. It's psychological. Scammers know this. They'll feed you signals designed to trigger your gambler's fallacy, keeping you locked in, convinced that the next time will be different. This is why signal groups are so addictive. It's not the accuracy. It's the illusion that you're one step away from winning. The scammer doesn't even need to hide it. They let your brain do the work, convincing you that persistence will pay off. Revenge trading. Then comes anger. You lose money and tell yourself, I'll get back. That fire feels like control, like taking action. But in reality, it's the scammer's greatest weapon. They don't need to manipulate you anymore. You're already trapped in your own need for revenge. The illusion of control convinces you that doubling down will save you, when in truth, it only digs a hole deeper. Here's the darkest truth. Scammers don't actually make you do anything. They don't place your trades. They don't click your buttons. But they understand that human psychology doesn't need force. It only needs nudges. And those nudges are invisible. Imagine a faceless trader in a dark room. He sits at a desk with 10 levers in front of him, believing he controls his destiny. But what he doesn't see is that the entire desk is on a platform being pushed by someone else. He feels powerful, in charge, making decisions, but every path leads to the same place. That's the illusion. Even experienced traders aren't immune. In fact, the more knowledge you have, the more dangerous the illusion becomes. Because knowledge feeds confidence, and confidence feeds blindness. You believe you're too smart to be scammed. That belief itself is the scam. This is why scams feel so personal. Because when they collapse, you don't just lose money. You lose the belief that you were in control. You realize the truth. Every decision you made was planted, guided, manipulated. And nothing feels more painful than knowing your freedom was just a trick of the mind. But here's where the illusion becomes deadly. It doesn't end when the scammer leaves. The illusion lives inside you. You begin to doubt every trade, every instinct. Was it really your choice, or was it manipulation? You second-guess yourself, trapped in paranoia. The control you thought you had is gone forever. And this is the final cruelty. Once your psychology is broken, scammers don't even need to target you again. You'll keep chasing false promises on your own, searching for shortcuts, handing over power to anyone who offers certainty. You become addicted to the illusion, because control is the ultimate drug. And in trading, it's always just out of reach. The market itself becomes the biggest scammer. Every chart movement feels like manipulation. Every spike convinces you to act. Every dip convinces you to panic. You think you're responding to opportunity, but you're just a puppet pulled by invisible forces. Fear, greed, anger, hope. The illusion of control is not that you are being controlled. The illusion is that you ever had control at all. The truth is terrifying. The scammers don't create illusions out of thin air. They use what already lives inside you. Overconfidence, bias, hope, anger. They twist your psychology until you can no longer separate your will from their design. So, ask yourself, when you place that next trade, when you join that next group, when you chase that next signal, whose hand is really on the trigger? Yours or theirs? Because if you can't answer that question, then maybe the illusion is already complete. Illusions can be shattered, but the final illusion, the one built inside your own mind, is the hardest to break. You see, escaping a scammer is enough. Walking away from a fake mentorship, leaving a signal group, or deleting a trading app won't save you. Because the real trap is not the scammer. The real trap is you. Scammers build a cage, but you keep locking the door. They plant the seed, but you water it every day with fear, with greed, with impatience. This is a final illusion, believing that the danger ends when the scammer disappears. The truth is, the danger is already moved inside you. Picture this. You're inside a maze. Every path looks different. New indicators, new mentors, new strategies. But they all loop back to the same dead end. You believe you're exploring freely, but in reality, you're only running in circles. That's what trading psychology becomes after you've been scammed. Every new method feels like a fresh start, but it's just another corridor of the same maze. The illusion tells you this time will be different, but the walls never change. This is why so many traders jump from system to system, chasing shortcuts. It's not because the market is unbeatable. It's because their psychology has been corrupted. They don't see discipline anymore. They only see promises. And every promise leads them deeper into the maze. So, how do you break the final illusion? Not by fighting the scammer, not by fighting the market, but by fighting yourself. The battlefield is your own psychology. The weapons are awareness, discipline, and patience. And the first step is the hardest, admitting that the real enemy has always been you. A Stoic once said, "You will never control the outside world until you master the world within." In trading, that truth becomes life or death. Scammers can't touch a trader who has conquered their mind, a trader who isn't blinded by greed, who isn't shaken by fear, who doesn't chase revenge. Such a trader is untouchable. But mastering yourself requires sacrifice. It means walking away from the fantasy of easy money. It means embracing boredom, patience, repetition. It means doing the hardest thing of all, nothing. Because in trading, sometimes the greatest action is restraint. One, journaling. Write every trade, every emotion, every mistake. Shine light on your psychology so illusions can't hide in the dark. 2, Stoic mindset. Train yourself to expect loss, to welcome uncertainty. If you fear nothing, scammers can't use fear against you. 3, discipline rituals. Set rules that cannot be broken. Stop losses, risk limits, strict time windows. Discipline becomes a shield against manipulation. 4, awareness of biases. Recognize the traps. Overconfidence, gambler's fallacy, FOMO. Once you see the illusion, it loses its power. Imagine again the trader in the dark room, surrounded by glowing screens. For so long, he thought he was trapped by scammers, trapped by markets, trapped by systems. But then, in the silence, he notices something. The key has always been in his hand. not the scammers, not the mentors. The final illusion is believing you are powerless. Breaking it means realizing you've been holding the power all along, the power to say no, to walk away, to wait, to remain still. But here's the twist. Most traders never use a key, because using it means letting go of the fantasy, the dream of instant success. It means choosing reality over illusion, and reality is harder, slower, more painful. That's why the illusion survives, because traders would rather believe in a beautiful lie than face the brutal truth. Breaking the final illusion will cost you something, your comfort. You will lose the adrenaline rush of chasing signals. You will lose the false hope of guaranteed profits. You will lose a fantasy that someone else holds a secret. But in return, you gain freedom. You gain clarity. You gain control, real control, not the illusion. And in that moment, when you finally see through the lies, the scammers lose their power, not because they disappeared, but because you no longer believe in their weapon. But remember, illusions have layers. And just when you think you've broken free, another shadow waits. Another trap hides, not in the markets, not in the scammers, but in the deepest corners of your own psychology. The final illusion isn't broken once. It must be broken every single day you step into the market. And in the next chapter, we'll uncover the darkest truth of all, the one illusion that no trader has ever fully escaped. The most dangerous scams are not the ones you see. They are the ones you never notice. The story could have ended with the final illusion, but there's a darker truth, one most traders will never uncover. A truth that hides in plain sight, shaping not just your trades, but your thoughts, your habits, your very identity. This is a fourth element. The invisible hand, the puppeteer. Scammers aren't just individuals. They are systems, networks, algorithms, entire ecosystems designed to manipulate psychology on a mass scale. Think about it. You open your trading app. Charts are glowing, red and green candles dancing. Notifications buzz. Don't miss this opportunity. It feels like urgency, but it's architecture. Someone built it that way. Even news cycles, social media posts, and expert opinions work as strings tied to your decisions. When you think you're acting on instinct, you might just be moving exactly as they want. The puppeteer never shouts. The puppeteer whispers. And the whispers feel like your own voice. Imagine the market as a vast theater. Traders sit in the dark, staring at the stage. Suddenly, the lights change. Headlines flash. Influencers scream, bull run incoming. You feel the rush of excitement. The crowd rises with you. But behind the curtain, someone pulls the ropes. The lights, the sound, the script, it's all designed. And you're just one actor who doesn't realize he's been cast in someone else's play. This is why patterns repeat. This is why bubbles form. Not because traders are foolish, but because their psychology is being directed. Her behavior is not chaos. It's choreography. One fear of missing out, FOMO. Puppeteers amplify urgency. Timers on websites, flashing signals, viral tweets. The illusion of scarcity forces you to move. 2. Greed triggers. Images of luxury cars, screenshots of profits, overnight millionaire stories. These aren't accidents. They're bait. 3. Authority illusions. Fake experts, actors posing as traders, even AI-generated influencers. Authority makes lies believable. 4. Information overload. Drown the trader in noise, so they mistake confusion for opportunity. Puppeteers know. A confused mind grabs the nearest lifeline. Every string is psychological. Every move is predictable. The puppeteer doesn't want your money directly. They want your attention, because attention is the gateway to emotion, and emotion is the gateway to control. When you think you're chasing profits, you're really chasing dopamine. The charts are designed like slot machines, bright colors, rapid updates, random rewards. That's not coincidence. It's neuroscience. Casinos figured out decades ago. Social media refined it. Trading platforms adopted it. The puppeteer isn't innovating. He's just repackaging addiction. How do you fight a puppeteer you cannot see? The answer is terrifyingly simple. You stop dancing. But stopping means stepping back. It means detaching not just from scammers, but from the illusion of the market itself. It means watching without reacting, observing without needing to control. Like a stoic warrior who enters the battlefield but remains untouched, you must train yourself to see the strings but not follow them. This requires silence, reflection, the willingness to sit on your hands when everyone else rushes forward. It feels unnatural because the puppeteer designed it that way. But in stillness lies freedom. The invisible puppeteer knows your weakness: time. If you wait too long, fear creeps in. If you act too fast, greed takes over. The puppeteer doesn't force you. He only waits for your impatience to destroy you. That's why true traders are not gamblers. They are monks. They master patience until time itself bends to their will. They turn waiting into a weapon. The puppeteer cannot control a trader who is willing to wait forever. So here's the final revelation. The scammer in the shadows, the mentor selling dreams, the group promising signals. They are only masks. Behind them, strings. And behind the strings, a puppeteer. But the real twist? The puppeteer isn't one person. It isn't one company. It's a system of illusions reinforced by your own psychology. And the cruelest part is this: every trader at some point becomes their own puppeteer, trapping themselves in illusions they no longer need others to build. That's why breaking free isn't a one-time event. It's a daily battle, a lifelong war. So you cut the strings. You've silenced the whispers. You've faced the puppeteer. But what if the puppeteer was never outside of you? What if the darkest illusion of all was the trader himself?